Joe Rizzo here with the Coach Jeremy Jacobus for the final time with this group of Rockets U19 AA girls. They come up a little bit short to the York Devils, 2-0 in the AGHF championship game. But at the beginning of the season, if somebody could have told you you'd be playing until the final seconds of the championship game and didn't tell you what was going to be the result, you'd have signed for it, I imagine.
I definitely would have. But I got to tell you, from day one, when I had this group come in, I knew that we were going to be destined for good stuff. And we did have to face some adversity through the season, had a lot of injured players, won some games, and I think that that's what got us here. And then we played a strong game and found ourselves in a really tough game with a really good team. That's what happened to me.
It's almost too raw still, right? Like you've just had the game, and this has been the completion of a playoff weekend, which was ultimately pretty successful. You won a couple of games before, and then you had the fact that you won those first couple of games made a meaningless game on Saturday night where you had a little bit of fun, and I sense that. With that fun game, that's probably going to be something that this group remembers for a long time, maybe even more than the sting of the defeat and some of the tears that are happening in the locker room as we record this. I
would have to agree with that. I think one thing that's very important to girls hockey is that three-letter word, fun. Funny you should mention that, because I heard the other team in the lobby last night after the game saying that was one of the funnest games they ever played as well. So, yeah, it's super important to have that element. This group here is cheerful on its own without that. The bench, even when we're losing, is in good shape. The locker room's always in good shape. So I know that there's some tears in there today, but these girls should definitely be holding their heads high walking out of here because, like I said, we're in the final game. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah. So when you reflect on the season, I talked about it in the run up to the game on the live stream. If you haven't caught it, go back and check that out. It was a season where it was, like you said, injuries constant, but it drilled into the character of the girls where they had to step up and do different things. Lily Latour, she's a brilliant skater. She came in and played goal for 5 weeks to keep your season afloat. And, of course, when she's doing that, that's one less skater that you have out there. So everybody had to play on a little bit of a shorter bench, and there were all kinds of injuries. Your daughter, PJ Jacobus, was out for something like 3 months, right? And she comes back. She starts the season at center, and she comes back and plays defense for the rest of the year. So there was a lot of adjustment and a lot of things made, and yet you get here and you come within, a couple of bounces of winning the chip. It's got to be when you step back in a few days and a little bit of the emotion of the loss is gone. I think that it's going to be looked at as a very, very successful and pleasurable experience that you had here with you and all the group.
Absolutely. It's a game. It's a highly competitive game. A lot of these injuries occurred because they're highly competitive. They happen on the ice. That's a frozen ring of battle here behind us, and I loved coaching this group. I'm so proud of them, and regardless of not getting the W today, I'm not really too hurt about that. Just being around these girls and spending time around the coaches and the parents and at the rink that's where my head's at. And I just do it all over again every season. It doesn't matter to me. But I hope that these girls all get home safe today. I hope this is definitely not the last time I see them. I want to see them back on the ice next week or the week after and start having some fun again. That's what we're looking for.
I wish you could have used Frozen Ring of Combat in one of our interviews at the beginning of the season, so I could have used it through the live streams all through the season. How did you come up with that one?
Frozen Ring
Why
of
are we
Battle.
sitting on Frozen Ring of Battle? Combat Battle, who cares? That's the type of stuff you get from us. Frankness in these post-game things. I think you and I have talked about doing some other stuff on here that might be interesting to us, maybe to you guys too. So what you need to do is hit the subscribe button and the alerts button. And this might be the end for this particular makeup of this particular group, but it won't be the end of certainly of the Rizzo Vision stuff. And I I believe we have a future still here going on.
Definitely do.
In the near future, probably, right?
We definitely do. And listen, I just want to put a big thank you out, right? The first thing I want to do is put a big thank you out to all the parents for getting those girls here and being committed to the season. A huge thank you to the coaching staff for supporting what I want to do and all of that stuff there. A huge thank you to the girls. I just thank the girls for probably that's the best team I ever coached. I used to go to a lot of games and travel to a lot of games knowing that we were going to get, the snot kicked out of us, and I didn't have to drive to any games like that this year. I feel really positive about this group. And then the final thing is I just really like to thank you, Joe Rizzo, because you bring what we have here to life for so many other people. So it really gets us out there, and that's what I got. That's all I got, Coach. Joe, that's all I got.
Well, I'd like to say you're welcome, and I'd like to say now we'll insert the teary montage, but that's going to take too much editing, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to want to get this thing out there for people with maybe a little editing and not too much, just fancy graphics and things like that. But you get all the takes unabridged. We pretty much never cut anything out. This is just us after the games, and that's kind of how we do it. I'd like to thank you and the staff and the girls and the parents. I thanked all of you in the live stream, but I'll thank you again here. It's a pleasure to do it. I get attached to the girls and the parents, and even we've made some good friends here from some of the other teams with the way people come up to me at random and just say really, really nice things, and that's really that's it's quite rewarding.
Definitely. When you do this kind of stuff, every girl in that locker room, when I'm here at the rink, those are like my daughters. Those are like my own. And if anybody does anything to them, I get really angry. But I love this group. I love the group of parents, coaches, girls, everything. This is what drives my life, and I love it.
Okay, that's going to put a wrap on this season. We did a bunch of these. If you like what you saw, go back, check them all out. This guy did that a couple of weeks ago. He was checking out interviews that we did from like 2 years ago, back during the pandemic times.
Good ones too.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll get an editor to throw all those together one day and then do the best ofs, greatest moments. But that's going to put a bow on the season. At the AGHF Championship, the Rockets come up a little bit short, 2-0 to the York Devils, but otherwise you heard it all here from the coach, Jeremy Jacobus. And for the coach, this is Joe Rizzo. Thanks for watching New Jersey Rockets Hockey on Rizzo Vision.